What's up, YouTube? Chat here with the No Spoon Podcast, just tapping in with another video. If this is your first time on this channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so you can get these videos as soon as they drop, right? If you like this video, like it, share it, comment, tell me what you think about it. I'm really excited about this channel and where we got going. I think there's a lot of good things coming on the way. So you want to tap in and keep posted, man. Keep posted for more great content on the way. But I want to get right into this story real quick that I want to talk about. It revolves around a major college football program and a lawsuit that's going on between the player and the program. I'm gonna read the story. It's coming from ESPN. I'm gonna read the story and then I'm gonna talk about it because I think this talks to a greater problem that's going on in society. It's covering, just adversity, just overcoming adversity. It talks about um, mental health. It's talking about masculinity, all these different things that are a problem in our society that I think are being addressed the wrong way. And I want to talk about this. I think exemplifies it to a T, right? So it says Ole Miss defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins, who said he was recently kicked off the team for missing practices and meetings during a quote mental health crisis, is suing the university and coach Lane Kiffin for failure to provide equal protection, racial and sexual discrimination, and multiple other allegations. Rollins, a backup lineman whose career has been marred by injuries, is seeking $10 million in compensatory damages and $30 million in punitive damages. The lawsuit alleges that Kiffin intentionally took adverse action against Rollins, quote, on account of race, for requesting and taking a mental health break, but not taking adverse action against white student athletes, end quote, for the same request. It alleges sexual discrimination on the basis that Ole Miss has not taken, quote, adverse action against female student athletes for requesting and taking a mental health break, end quote, as well. Right? It says that according to the lawsuit, Rollins suffered multiple injuries during his career with the Rebels, including a concussion in the spring of 2022 and an injury to his right Achilles tendon that July. The lawsuit claims Rollins, quote, suffered severe depression, anxiety, frustration, embarrassment, humiliation, a loss of sleep, and a loss of appetite from the injury to his Achilles. The lawsuit further states that nobody within the athletic department or football staff provided Rollins with materials about mental health or a mental health referral after the injury. He was reinstated to practice the following month, and in August he aggravated a previous injury to the LCL in his left knee. In addition to the physical pain he suffered, the lawsuit states that Rollins suffered from quote-unquote severe depression. On November 28, 2022, Rollins met with defensive line coach Randall Joyner for an exit meeting, and Rollins said Joyner tried to persuade him to enter the transfer portal. Rollins declined to transfer. On January 6, 2023, Rollins' grandmother passed away, and, quote, he continued to suffer severe depression. On February 27, 2023, Rollins met with Kiffin, who informed Rollins he was moving from defensive tackle to the scout team's offensive line because he wouldn't transfer. According to the lawsuit, Rollins asked Kiffin if this was a quote-unquote choice or demand. Rollins alleged that Kiffin told him if he didn't like it, then he should quit. At that point, Rollins told Kiffin he was going to take a quote mental break, according to the lawsuit. Rollins went to his car and immediately called strength and conditioning coach Nick Savage and reiterated his need for a mental break. His mother, Connie Hollins, said she called the school's athletic trainer, Pat Jernigan, and told him Rollins was, quote, suffering a mental health crisis. She requested Jernigan get a counselor to speak with her son and monitor him. According to the lawsuit, Jernigan scheduled a meeting for Rollins with Josie Nicholson, the school's assistant athletic director for sports psychology. She encouraged him to take a step back and scheduled a follow-up session for March 7th. When he returned for his next session, Nicholson told him Kiffin wanted to meet with him again, but Rollins said he wasn't ready to see the head coach yet. Rollins didn't meet with Kiffin again until March 21st, despite repeated requests from the football staff. During the meeting, Rollins legally recorded Kiffin without his knowledge, and a copy of the transcript was included in the lawsuit. I'm going to read from you the transcripts of this pertinent part of the conversation here, and this is the part that's really standing out, and this is the part that ESPN reported upon. But I want to read this to you because I think it's important. This is Kiffin speaking at this point. Okay, you have an effing head coach. This is a job. Guess what? If I have mental issues, and I'm not diminishing them, I can't not see my effing boss. When you were told again and again the head coach needs to see you, wasn't to make you practice, wasn't to play a position you don't effing want to, okay? It was to talk to you and explain to you in the real world, okay? So I don't give a F what your mom says, okay, or what you think in the real effing world. You show up to work and then you say, hey, I have mental issues. I can't do anything for 2 weeks, but if you change my position, I won't have mental issues. I guarantee if we effing called you in and said you're playing defense, would you have had mental issues? Rollins replied, I definitely would. During the audio exchange, Rollins is heard saying, I mean, you're acting like my issues aren't real. Kiffin, I didn't say they're not real. You show up when your boss wants to meet with you. It wouldn't have been like this if you would have come here when you kept getting messages the head coach wants to talk to you. You say, I'm not ready to talk. Rollins, I wasn't. Kiffin, what effing world do you live in? Rollins, I don't see why you have to be disrespectful, honestly. Kiffin, get out of here. Go. You're off the team. You're done. See ya. Go. And guess what? We can kick you off the team. Go read your effing rights about mental health. We can kick you off the team for not showing up. When your head coach asks to meet with you and you don't show up for weeks, we can remove you from the team. It's called being a PUSSY. It's called hiding behind SHIT and not showing up to work. Now, a couple things. First of all, let's get context right, right? Kiffin doesn't know he's being recorded. Rollins does. He also knows he's being recorded, and he knows that it's being recorded for a purpose to set up a lawsuit. So we can't really take Rollins's responses and the way he's conducting himself in this meeting as to be organic or to be genuine, because he knows he's setting him up for a lawsuit. Kiffin doesn't know. He's being his authentic self. And the way he's responding is not anything out of the ordinary for a football coach. You got to remember, Lane Kiffin is he's done this at a high level. Lane Kiffin has been an NFL head coach. He's been the head coach of major Division I college football programs, including USC and Tennessee. He's also been an assistant at Alabama. I mean, he's coached with Pete Carroll and Nick Saban. I mean, this is not a scrub name in the world of football. This is Lane Kiffin, right? And the way he's speaking to Rollins is, it's an uncomfortable truth for people who are not involved in sports and especially men's sports and football in general. This is how football coaches speak. This is how the things are. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what he said. I mean, I played football from Pop Warner in high school and college, and coaches spoke like this even at Pop Warner level when we were kids. I mean, it is what it is. So I don't really look at him as, like Rollins says, I don't see why you have to be disrespectful. I didn't really see no disrespect there. Maybe if you were speaking to your grandmother, maybe if you were speaking to in church, it's disrespectful. But in this context, it's not disrespectful. Kiffin implies that the reason why Rollins is having this quote-unquote mental health crisis is more or less due to him being demoted, right? He was moved from defensive line where he wasn't getting any playing time. He wasn't starting. He wasn't a factor. He wasn't a contributing factor to the team, to the offensive scout team. This is basically the team that they use to run the opposing team's plays during practice so that the starters and the players that are going to play can practice and get prepare for the next opponent. I think that it looks like that's what Kiffin is saying. That's why he said, if we would have called you in here and told you were being moved back to the defensive line, would you have had a mental health crisis then? Because he's implying that all this happened after you didn't get your way, after things didn't go right for you. And this is what I'm seeing, man. When it comes to the whole mental health thing, right? Mental health has become a spectrum, and they even talk about it. It's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of mental health issues of different ailments, right? And it ranges from almost no symptoms, nothing showing, no kind of indication of mental health problems, to very severe mental health problems. And the reason for that is because this spectrum allows us to capture so many different people, right? The big pharmaceutical industries, the HMOs, healthcare industry that we have in this country, they are trying to capitalize off every single problem that they possibly can, even if that means diagnosing problems that aren't really there, right? I personally don't believe that most of the people that are suffering from depression, anxiety, addiction, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, all these different issues, really have problems. I really think that we have a problem of not overcoming our issues, not being able to overcome our emotions, not being able to overcome adversity. If you look at what Rollins went through, Rollins suffered injuries. It happens. It's part of the game. It's football. You either bounce back or you don't. That's life. Life is about adversity. Life is about setbacks. Things are going to go right, and sometimes they're not. How you respond is the most important thing about all of it, right? Because you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. It looked like Rollins was not responding in the right way. And so instead of taking ownership of that and accountability for that, what he's trying to do is pass the blame onto the administration and onto his coach and saying it's his fault. When in reality is, Rollins, you didn't measure up. And that happens. You're not going to always be the best at everything that you do. But don't hide behind a mental health crisis. And I'm not saying that he's not having mental health issues, but what I'm saying is it sounds more like that there's people in his life that are pushing him in that direction, including his mother. As you've seen, it was his mother that called the program and came to his aid and said, oh, he's having problems, so and so, such and such. I think that that's the real issue here, right? And when you see a lot of people that have so-called problems, what I see most times when it comes to them is not that they can't fix it, but they don't want to fix it, because fixing it means losing a piece of leverage. Let me explain that. A lot of times, people that suffer from depression, suicidal tendencies, and all these different ailments right now, mental health, when they don't get their way, like Rollins didn't get his way, when they don't get their way, what happens? Then it triggers their mental health and they go into this funk. They have an attitude, they mope around, they start becoming quote unquote suicidal, they start having these episodes, and what it does is it gets people around them to conform and say, you know what, let's give them their way. And so what you see in here is a manipulation of that as well, and they're using the courts to do so, right? And I wouldn't want to be a football coach today, because football coaches, you can't do anything, right? You can't really these are men. These are men, right? These are men. And we're not treating them like men. We're treating them like little boys. That mama's boys, as you can see, who his mama calls up the administration and says, oh, protect him. And, come on, man. Get out there and play. Everybody goes through something, man. Everybody does. But as a football coach, you can't deal with these kids no more, because these kids run towards lawyers, they run towards mental health experts, so and so, and they start saying, "Oh man, they're making me uncomfortable. They're making me do things I don't want to do." And this is where you get this generation where I don't want to get up and go to work. I'm entitled. You should give me. Give me this, give me that. I don't want to have to feel uncomfortable. What, I have to get up in the morning and go to work? Oh, that's stressing me out. That's causing me mental anguish. What am I supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is get up and go. We didn't have, in previous generations, we didn't have that. Fathers knew they had to get up and go to work. There was no, oh, I'm going through something right now. Well, things have to keep going forward. I mean, if it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago, when we had to hunt for our own food and go out there and work and milk a cow for our own food, what are we going to do? We're going to starve. There's nobody there to have a safety net for you. But that's what we want, safety nets. And that's what's going on here. This is very telling at the bottom of it, at the end of the story. There's a quote here from Rollins' mother, whose last name is Hollins, right? She says no person should be subjected to this type of abuse when they're suffering a mental health crisis. He just wanted some time to get through his grandmother's death. It wasn't even spring ball yet, but I don't care. It could have been the regular season. Sometimes everybody needs a break. The problem with that statement is that, yeah, you might want a break, but breaks aren't all. You can't be afforded breaks. Life doesn't work that way. The wheels have to keep going. We have to keep moving forward, right? And that's just the reality. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes you're going to have to do things when you don't feel like doing it, and you can't always get a break. A mother who has to take care of her kids, she can't always get a break. A father who has to go out there and go to work and to provide for his family, he can't always get a break. It is what it is. We can't keep doing this mommy love type stuff where mommy comes to your rescue and she puts you on her knee and she rubs your little tummy and she says, "Don't worry, I'll protect you from the bad men who want to make you uncomfortable." I don't see any mention of a father there. And that's probably where this is all coming from, that there was no father there to say, DeSantos, get up, put your boots on, lace them up, and let's go out there and play. Let's go out there and earn your spot. Let's go out there and be a man. Rollins says, and this is the very last part of the article, he says, Rollins declined to comment, other than telling ESPN, and sums it up beautifully. I love Ole Miss, but they do not love me. You see, Rollins, you expect them to love you. They're not there to love you. They're there to educate you and get you prepared for the next stage of life. That's it. That's love, Rollins. See, we have a wrong definition of love. Love is when we tell you what you need to hear, the truth. That's love. When you tell the people around you who are doing things that are wrong, who are doing things that are not helping themselves, that not in accordance with reality, we tell them the truth. That's love. That's love. Not to protect you and shelter you and not let you feel any discomfort. That's not love. That's evil. That's selfish. That's what people do when they're selfish. When you see a family member doing things that are wrong and you don't want to tell them because you don't want to have that conflict with them. That's your selfish reasons. Real love is to sit there and say, this is the problem. This is what you're doing. You're being selfish. You're manipulating. You're using this to your advantage. That's real love. That's real love. I know you're going through things. Life is hard. I get it. We all going through things. But we need to push each other. We need to build each other up so that we can get through it and we can overcome it. Not shelter them. Not put them on your knee and burp them and baby them and feed them and spoon and say, oh man, everybody's bad and evil. I'll protect you from them. That's evil. That's selfish. Real love, real love is to tell people the truth. You're not going to be popular. People aren't going to like you. But if you love somebody, you'll tell them the truth. Even if they don't want to talk to you, even if you never hear from them again, fine. You stand your ground. You do what you're supposed to do. That's real love. That's real love. They do love you, Rollins. They do. But you shouldn't be there for the love. You should be there for the love of yourself and your dignity and your self-respect to do what you need to do. Stand up. Be a man. It's simple. I know you don't want to hear it. I know the world doesn't want to hear it. I know they want to coddle you, but that's the whole point. They want to emasculate you. They want to make you weak because there are really strong men in positions of power that understand that if they can make everybody else weak, they can control and they can dominate. That's what's going on here. You guys don't like it. I know it's hard to stomach, hard to swallow. I feel you. I hear you, but that's the reality. The only way we overcome this, the only way we overcome it, we start telling the truth. Stop caring what people say. They're going to call you all kind of names. That's fine. They're not going to talk to you. They're going to say, oh, man, he's so insensitive, this and that. That's fine. I don't care. Cool. Tell the truth. That's real love. You love people. You have love for your family. You have love for people. Tell them the truth. Period. That's it.